I'm standing off Pennsylvania Avenue, just 2 blocks away from the White House. To my extreme left is the IFC, the private wing of the World Bank Group. Right here is the IMF building, and just behind me is the World Bank Group office, that is the main building on 1818th Street, Pennsylvania Avenue, Washington, D.C. This is the powerhouse where politics, economics and development meets. And on the heels of this meeting, we'll be taking a look at how small firms are being supported by especially the IFC. In a continent where resources abound but with very little local participation, it is always difficult for the economic gains made to spread evenly. Mindful of this, the Bretton Woods institutions are pushing the agenda that in order to ensure that poverty is tackled right from the root, multinational companies are being urged to support small and medium-scale enterprises in Africa. Also high on the agenda of the Washington-based institutions is public-private partnership. That is, combining private sector-led investment with public support in order to bridge the infrastructural deficit facing the continent. But is there a need to support large as well as small African firms?
I think it's a mix. Large African firms, the large African firms need support, but may need support. But that support has to come on the back of their viability. Do they need access to capital? Do they need access to finance? Certainly. I think there is very access to finance is one of the major constraints in Ghana to entrepreneurship and to the growth of small firms.
For this year's 6th edition of the Africa Investor Strategic Dialogue in Washington, D.C., the Vice President of the IFC, Jean-Philippe Prosper, explained how the IFC works in encouraging these kinds of capabilities and why it is important.
If we want to see an acceleration of job growth throughout Africa, hundreds, even thousands of successful micro-enterprises and small businesses must become large companies. Through the extensive value chains, larger companies can create a large multiple of indirect jobs for each direct job they create. IFC client Safa, for example, is responsible for an estimated 24,000 jobs in its distribution network, compared with only 4,200 jobs that they have directly into the company.
In turns, each panel member was given the opportunity to suggest better ways of addressing the issue, citing key examples from the countries and organizations they each represent.
One of the experiences from Norway is that from the very outset, we had no other alternative than to focus on the areas where we had a comparative advantage. And that was our natural resource base. And in that, I think, is many similarities with many African countries.
Clearly, the goodwill to support local enterprises to emerge as leaders were evident, needless of the bottlenecks. But the key issue was the kind of policy mix that will help turn the fortunes of Africa around. Rebekah Awuah reporting.